Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to 1 Minute Grammar number 71. Congratulations, we're here. We have studied 71 lessons so far. Right, so let's get started. Today's lesson, let me show it to you first. Today's lesson is about the word the. That story of articles is a long story. It can be intermediate, it can be advanced, it can be for expert as well. But today we're talking about easy stuff. Now remember these two rules. We'll need them later on. There means you know which one or which ones I'm talking about. But that does not mean all. So remember these, we'll come back to them. And there is another thing that we'll talk about today. Actually, it's an article, a and an. So let's see. Here is my first question. And the question is, does this second sentence mean the same as the first sentence? Yes or no? So let's see if people on Facebook got anything. Hello, Muhammad. So if you know the answer, people on Facebook, you can write it and I'll say the answers out loud. Okay. So now you have taken your time to think. So the first sentence is, I hope your children aren't scared of my dogs. And the second sentence is, I hope your children aren't scared of their dogs. So you see the difference is their and my. Okay. So the correct answer is yes. Yes. The second sentence means the same as the first one. Now, why is that? Now, the answers you can see here comes from Practical English Usage, section 64.1. So if you have the book, the third edition, you can open it. If you don't, I will read out loud the rule for you. So the rule is articles. And here we need to remember this. There equals, you know which one or which ones I'm talking about. Now, there usually means something like, you know which one I mean? We use there before a noun, any type of noun. It can be singular, plural, countable, uncountable, any type of noun really. So we use there before a noun when our listener, the person that we're talking to, or the reader knows or can easily see which particular noun, person, place, thing, etc., that we are talking about. So let me give you an example. If somebody says, I am going to go, or I'm going to the post office. Now, because that person said the post office, then that person means a specific, post office that the listener is familiar to. The listener knows which post office, the usual one that they go to. Now, if somebody else says, is there a post office near here? So now the speaker is asking about any post office, not a usual one or a specific one. So that's the difference. So I'm going to the post office. Is there a post office? So that means the usual ones, and the listener knows which ones we're talking about. So here, the lady is saying, I hope your children are scared of my dog. So the listener obviously knows which dogs she's speaking about. She's speaking about her dogs. So she can also say, I hope your children aren't scared of their dogs, because they're her dogs. We know that from the first sentence. All right. So that was an easy one, as you can see. Now, here is the second question. And you need to know 2 grammar rules to understand, to answer the second one. But it's an easy one, too. Okay. Now, second question is, right or wrong? A, B, C, D. You have to choose the right sentences and wrong sentences. You have to identify them. Okay, let me see first if the first question is okay. People on Facebook, is everything all right? Seems that everything is okay. Okay. Right, so here is the second question. A doctor must like people. Doctor must like people. Doctors must like people. The doctors must like people. It's easy. I know you can tell which sentences are right, which sentences are wrong. I know you can. The trick is, do you know why the right sentences are right and the wrong sentences are wrong? Do you know why? That's the thing. Okay, I'll give you some time to think because I don't want to just give you the answers. I want you to try. Somebody saying, well, actually, Muhammad, for question number 1, they are the same, actually. B is wrong. So doctors must like people. Okay. Okay. Doctor must like people is wrong. All right, Muhammad. And how about A? How about C? How about D? Okay. Let's see the answers so that we don't make the video too long for the people who will watch it later on, because the people who watch the class later, the recorded class, are many more than those who attend live. Try and attend my live classes, guys. All right, so here are the answers. The first one is right. A is right. The third one, C, is right. And B and D are wrong. Now, I'm pretty sure that many of you will have figured out the answer, but I will tell you why. Now, listen to this. I will read 2 grammar rules, actually. The first one is about the uses of a and an. Now, a and an, and I'm reading, by the way, from section 65.3b. A and an, the a or an does not add much to the meaning of a noun. It's like a weak form of the word one. So if you say a doctor, it's like saying one doctor, but the meaning is kind of weak. It has several or an. They have several common uses. So if you use a or an, there are many uses for them. Now, I will give you only one use, the one that we are interested in here in the question. A or an are used for any one member of a class. Any one member of a class. So let me give you an example. If I say, I would like to live in an old house. I would like to live in an old house. Now, an old house means any old house. So any one house, any member of that group of old houses, any one house. So that's one use of it. If you say, for example, I'd like to have a sandwich, you're talking to your mother or your wife. Now she will ask you, which sandwich, right? Because you said a sandwich, you didn't specify. So I'd like to have a sandwich. So any sandwich. So one sandwich of a group of sandwiches. So it's the same thing. If you look at A and B, a doctor must like people. So a doctor means any doctor of that group, of that class called doctors. But you cannot say doctor must like people, right? Because we know that if we have a singular noun in English, it must have a or an. So this is why the first one is correct, because we mean any doctor must like people. All right. Now we go to C and D, and they're a little bit more difficult. I know you got the answer right, but I will tell you specifically why the answer is right. Now, listen to this. I need to take you back here. There does not mean all. This is what we are going to talk about now, right? You need to remember this rule. Just right, you know, and you remember now that there means you know which ones or one. You need to remember that there does not mean all. Sorry for that. Now, let's see. Now, listen. There does not mean all. We don't use there with uncountable or plural nouns to talk about things in general. We don't do this. To talk about all books and to talk about all people and to talk about all life, we don't use there like that to talk about things in general. There does not mean all. What if we want to talk about things in general like this? What do? We use the plural noun or the uncountable noun without any articles. Now, let me give you an example and you will understand. If I say, move the books off the chair, move the books off the chair. Now, because I said the books, I mean specific books, right? I don't mean books in general, all the books in the world, all that class called books. I don't mean that. I mean those specific books. But if I say books are expensive, now I mean all the books, books in general, all the books in the world are expensive. All right, you got it. So I'll say what I said again. Move the books off the chair, and books, only books, are expensive. In the first one, because I used the, I'm referring to a specific group of books, some specific books. But in the second one, I'm referring to books in general, right? Because I said books are expensive. Okay, so what I said was, we don't use the with plural nouns or uncountable nouns to talk about things in general. So we don't say the books are expensive. We don't use the because we're referring to books in general. We use book. We say books are expensive, but not the books are expensive. Right? You got this. So the does not mean all. That does not mean all. Let me give another example. If someone is saying, I love cheese, should he say, I love cheese or I love the cheese? Huh? You figure it out. Here's a small quiz for you. I will come back to Muhammad. I will come back to C and D now. Just hear me out. Now, if a person says, I love cheese, is that this sentence correct? Or should he or she say, I love the cheese? Of course, I love cheese only without the. Why? Because we said, if you want to refer to, things in general, you don't use an article. So I love cheese. Now, where is the cheese that I put in the fridge, or where is cheese that I put in the fridge? You will figure that out. It's easy. Now you understand. Where is the cheese? Because I'm referring to specific cheese. Hello, Noreen. Okay. Now here's another example. Why has the light gone out? Why has the light gone out? Or why has light gone out? Now, am I referring to a specific light? Yes, in the home. So I say, why has the light gone out? There, because I'm referring to something specific. Now, how about this? Nothing can travel faster than light or the light? Light, exactly, because I'm referring to light in general. Now, we will go to our sentences. Are we referring to doctors in general, all doctors? Yes, we're referring to doctors in general. We're saying doctors, all doctors. this profession, this group of people. Lovely group of people, actually. So doctors must like people, because we're not referring to a specific group of doctors. We're referring to doctors in general. So doctors must like people. Okay? Now, the doctors must like people is wrong, right? If we say, for example, the doctors in this hospital, again, the doctors in this hospital must like people, then the sentence will be correct, because we're referring to a specific group of doctors. Are you with me, Noreen? But to say the doctors must like people, this will be wrong. So here, doctors must like people is correct. The doctors must like people is incorrect. So Muhammad on Facebook now, you got it now? Where is that cheese? Exactly. You're still listening to the cheese part. Walaikum salam. Are you Abdul Karim? Abdul Karim. Yes, Abdul Karim. Okay. So to sum up, we talked about 3 grammar rules today. Actually, we talked about the, when the listener knows what we're talking about, then we can use that. And we talked about using a or an for a specific group of people, for one person actually in a specific group of people. And we don't use any articles when we are referring to, this group of people in general. Anyway, so thank you very much for being here with me tonight. And if you want to learn more about the grammar here, if you want to read about it more, you need to look up practical English usage, these sections here that I give you the answers from. And don't forget, every Saturday we have 1 minute grammar. Next time it will be advanced grammar. And every Sunday, which is tomorrow, I have 1 minute idioms, and after tomorrow, 1 minute collocations. Looking forward to seeing you there. If you still have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me on Facebook, or you have everything here, so you can use any of these social media to contact me. Thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Assalamu alaikum.